Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Halloween Horror Month. We are almost there. Almost there. I do have some little mini TV show stuff to do. Just a quick hint at some of those I'm doing, which I probably would have already uploaded anyway. But anyway, but this and one more is what I got done scheduled. I got 2 revision ones to do with the Groby later. But a haunted house 2. So apparently the first one made a lot of money. Made enough money to warrant a sequel. Here is the example of, just because it made a lot of money doesn't mean it's a good movie. I don't really care for the first one. It's whatever. I gave it a low, middle of the road, because there's some enjoyment. Marlon Wayans is enjoyable in anything, I think. I think he can make something happen. This one, though, I think it's better. Still not a good movie, but it's better. Oh, man. So the story of this one is that a year after the event of the first film, Malcolm has moved in with a new family. He's got a new girlfriend, played by Jamie Presley, and she has 2 kids. One of them Ashley Rickards, she's top on the Flash. She was on that show Awkward on MTV, and a little son. And after they move into this house, weird things start to happen. And while the first film worked as a spoof of the found footage genre with stuff like Paranormal Activity and the Paranormal Activity movies with some sprinkle of Devil Inside, that sort of thing. This takes the concept of spoofing those movies and just spoofs everything that was horror that was coming out around that time. You have, but it's not limited to, Annabelle, The Conjuring, Sinister, The Possession. It's, and this haunting is 3 different movies. 2 or 3 different movies rolled into one. Okay? It starts when they find a doll. It's an Annabelle doll. What's it called? Abigail. Right? And it also includes Super 8 footage, which is Sinister. And at the end, it concludes with them bringing in the the Swansons. Ned and Noreen Swanson instead of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Yeah. But our movie actually starts off spoofing the end of The Devil Inside, where they're in the car, they're taking Keisha somewhere. It's Malcolm and Keisha in the back seat, and Ray Ray is driving. And at first, I was like, wait, how did Ray Ray get there? He wasn't, and then I remembered he was there. He was at the Mandingo party. In the end. So Malcolm was the only one that survived that, and he got Ray Ray from the Mandingo party to... I don't know. But we find out later that Father Doug survived. So, I don't know. And so, they basically, the car crashes, but unlike The Devil Inside, where it ends like that, here... Malcolm and Ray Ray get the fuck out of there and leave Keisha behind. That's how they conclude the story from that movie. 1 year later, Malcolm is moving in to a new house. He's got a new family. He's got a new dog that dies instantly. And I saw this dog and I went, don't kill it off. Please don't. Safety strapped on it. Now, the joke would have worked if the safe dropped and we cut to something else. But instead, we gotta have the safe drop, Malcolm freaking out about it, them trying to get the safe off of it. Look, I said this in the first one. A joke is not funny just because you extend it out. it would have worked if it went, ah, and cut to the funeral scene. By the way, how does he... Oh no, you have a funeral for whatever Junior, and then later they get another dog, which is another... When the scene got me, by the way. The scene looks like it's going to be a parody of Sinister, where the boy pops out of the box. Malcolm wakes up, he sees the box moving, and he starts just beating the fuck out of the box, stabbing it, whatever. Turns out there was a dog inside. That got me. I was like, oh, are we going to do the parody of the box? No. You know, I just watched Scary Movie 5 not that long ago. It made me cry, hey, boo boo child, or whatever that one. I'm like, really, you just see this? No. That got me. It's not funny, but, you know. There is a funny part. Gabriel Iglesias plays a character, the Hispanic Mexican neighbor guy. And his one-beat joke, remember those characters from the first one that had a one-beat joke? His one-beat joke is that he calls out Malcolm's racism against Hispanics. There's a lot of racism jokes in these, and I don't know if they necessarily work. The first time, it works. But every single time they show this guy, Malcolm makes a comment. He goes, oh, you think it's like that, right? Because I'm Mexican. I gotta have this, and I gotta have that. I'm just fucking with you, bro. Of course I have that. It always leads up to that. I'm just fucking with you, bro. And it's like, you do it like 4 times. And it's like, it's too much to do it twice. But 4 times? I mean, Gabriel Iglesias is able to pull it off. There's a scene that really threw me for a loop where they had to sacrifice a chicken, right? And normally you'd be seeing Malcolm wrestling a chicken, trying to chop his head off. All I keep thinking is, there are times where he keeps getting the chicken down on the counter. It's like, I got you, I got you, I got you. And it's one of those things where it cuts and it goes to another fighting thing. You know what I mean? One of those gags they do. But every time it goes, I got you, I got you. Well, I just sit there going, grab the knife and cut his head off. You have it down. They're not trying to kill this thing. They're trying to catch it so they can kill it. That's the thing. So every time he holds it down, I'm thinking, grab the knife. Have Gabriel grab the knife. Just, come on. Or Miguel, excuse me. Have Miguel grab the knife. You know? Yeah. And I was glad that Ray Ray was only at the beginning. I'm like, good. Because I can't take no hummies for the entire freaking movie. And, oh, you think that's all you're going to get is the beginning of this movie. Oh my God, the ending of this movie has Ray Ray coming upon what happened at this house. And how many times he pops out the N-word while adding Iggy to the end of it instead of the other way? Iggy? With the end of the beginning of it. Iggy. I'm like, did they actually say it like that? I don't know. I'm not allowed to say it, which is fine. I wouldn't say it anyway. But, you know, I can't say it. No, I'm not going that far. But he says like, Iggy, Iggy, and then, Hummy, come on, Iggy, come on, Iggy, huh, Hummy. I'm like, I mean, this guy is, I want to shoot him. Just, you know. But anyway. So, oh wait, I forgot. There's like 4 different hauntings, right? 2 or 3 different things. So, first, there's the Annabelle doll, or Abigail doll, right? Then there's the Bagul, or Agul, which is played by Dave Sheridan. I found out with this. And then there's the box from Possession that goes after the daughter. And then Keisha shows up. And if there's one thing I want to say that I didn't really care for, it's that they don't use Keisha enough. Keisha shows up in the middle of this movie and you think, oh, okay, shit's going down now. And then she disappears until the end of the movie. It's like, what is the point of that? And the only thing I think of is they're doing the Paranormal Activity 4 thing. Right? Where, oh, hey, you know, but, I don't know. I'll out Malcolm that he left her there. I don't know. So, I need to go back to the first film now and explain something that I didn't mention in there because I didn't really want to talk about it. But because it's in this movie, I now have to go back and explain to you Malcolm's fetish for humping stuffed animals. Yeah, because that comes back in this movie. There's a scene where he's getting ready for a night with Keisha and he's humping these stuffed animals. He's got the dog Squeaky Duck. I don't know. I choose to try to ignore the scene. And then this one, he sleeps with the Abigail doll. And then they want full, like, out with this because they show like Facebook posts from this thing, and they gave it boobs. They gave it tits. It's like, really? Look, seen a lot of things. A lot of things I don't want to see, but the one thing I never wanted to see was Annabelle's titties. Okay, I don't need to see them. Okay, it's a little girl doll. I don't really think that way. I don't understand. By the way, they do a vagina joke with the daughter. The daughter who is a teenager, but the actress at the time, the actress is 31 now. The actress was like 19, 20 at the time. However, they do this joke, and I just found myself going, can we end this scene? Because here's the thing. Malcolm goes in, he sees the box sitting there. He opens up, puts his hand in the box. He's like, oh man, that stinks. And then Mickey comes in. She freaks out. The mom hears about it, and they're in there. And so they make the whole joke. He put his hand in my box. He had his hand in my box. He had 2 fingers in my box. In my tight little box. And I'm just like, can we move on? Please, can we move on from this scene? Please. It's not funny to me. It's disturbing. This is a child molestation joke. And it's supposed to be funny. So, at one point, Doug has had enough of this shit. Malcolm has had enough of this shit, right? He's been dealing with the ghost. He tried to throw out the doll in another joke that's not funny because he keeps... The first time, you know, you're expecting it, right? He digs a hole. He throws it in the hole. He pisses all over it. Takes a shit. Calling back to the first one, which I didn't mention that scene where, like, he hears a bunch of crashing, and she goes down to find her daddy's ashes everywhere. The coffee table is broken, and someone had taken a shit right in the middle of the ashes. And when she watches the video, it's Malcolm that did it. Well, that calls back to that with this, where he pisses all over the doll, takes a shit, buries it, comes back up, and, you know, do that once. Have him run off. They need to. No, they haven't buried or destroyed this thing like 4 or 5 times. And I was like, can we stop it? Before the wife comes, the girlfriend comes in. Sorry. She's a girlfriend, she's her wife. And just kind of, he tries to tell her it's the doll, you know. And by the way, they're also doing the Sinister thing where he's watching his videos. They show it like he's watching Super 8 footage. But when they come back to him, he's sitting at a desk, like he's working on a computer. So I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. But everyone is a setup from Sinister. Like the hanging of the 3 people. Only the rope breaks and so they can't hang. By the way, if the rope broke, they would fall. I'm just saying. The rope snaps and somehow it's still staying up. Bagul tries to light the garage on fire, sets himself on fire. He tries to drown people, they float. You know, stuff like that. It's kind of funny, but you know, they do it too many times. Like, I understand that in Sinister, he watches the videos many times. By the way, in these scenes, Malcolm has glasses because the glasses in his hands that he keeps going like this with. Because, you see, Ethan Hawke had glasses in that movie, so he's got to keep doing that. Eventually, he's much like with Sinister, he seeks this scientist, this smart guy. It's Rick Overton, who's never played a smart guy in his entire life. And his joke is that he likes the drugs, and he goes to jail, and later he gets prison raped in a Mandingo party, which includes Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, or in this case, sexual chocolate. That popped. I'm like, Mark Henry? No. I don't want to think about Mark Henry's sexual chocolate. Okay? No. Eventually he goes to Father Doug, and Father Doug shanks a motherfucker at his worst. Sometimes you just gotta shank a motherfucker. Sometimes I care to. I didn't care to this time. And that doesn't do anything. He gets a conversation with some women outside, and then he runs back home. It's basically... No. Yeah. So eventually he goes to see the Swansons. It was probably the worst parody. It's parody of the Warrens. It's the Warrens. I don't know what I could do. It's the Warrens. And they're not funny. Missy Pyle plays what would be it's Noreen Swanson, but it would be and then Lorraine. It would be Lorraine, but you know. The joke is she's psychic and knows what everyone is thinking, which is not how it's portrayed in The Conjuring, but whatever. So they're brought in, and they're like, oh, there's something in this house, which you already know. And it's inside the little girl. So we go to the climax of The Conjuring. They got the blanket over the little girl and everything. Or the teenage girl, whatever. She's not a little girl. She's like she was a 20-year-old actress. But, and oh, by the way, they do call back to the first one again because the boy has an imaginary friend named Tony. And much like with Paranormal Activity movies, why nobody connects this? Because Paranormal Activity 5, the guys are watching the videotapes from part 3. And they know that there's something called Toby, and their daughter keeps talking about Toby. And they just never connect that. Same thing with their real estate agents being named Katie. And that's like, well, that could be the same Katie from the tape. Says they aren't missing. Quit talking to goddamn Howie, please. You know, and yeah, and here, despite the fact that Keisha showed him those videos, maybe, you know, Tony, his friend Tony, teach him swear words, have him drink vodka instead of tea, for tea, as tea, but, yeah, so, yeah, they have a little thing, and they transfers into Malcolm, and he gets possessed. By the way, they play this stuff, they have the Warrens, and they say, do you want to help us? And like, oh, I have this neighbor, he's Mexican. And by the way, the Swansons in this are racist. So, yeah. But he comes in, and then they said need a priest, and Father Doug is just there. And then Malcolm, the demon is transferred via red viscous liquid from her to Malcolm. Malcolm's possessed, and then they beat the shit out of him like they did with Keisha. Only we know that didn't work with Keisha, but it works here, and he pukes it into the box. And Warrens take the Swansons take the box and the Annabelle doll because they did that in The Conjuring. But here, it's because Ned wants to have sex with it. By the way, they play up the stuff going on, including Malcolm having sex with the doll as if it was part of the haunting. But we know from the first film that he likes doing that. And it was before the ghost stuff started in the first one. Oh, and they do make a reference to the change in what they were going with in that movie. It's a demon disguised as a ghost, which was never verified in the first one, but you know. And then we get the ending to Paranormal Activity 2. Basically, Keisha pops up behind them, breaks Jamie Presley's neck. Malcolm freaks out and it cuts. And then we gotta follow Ray Ray. Like I said, this is annoying. He goes around, he finds... That's a dead white bitch, man. That's a dead white bitch. I did laugh at that. Look, her neck's all the way around, man. And then they find the daughter upstairs impaled. So she's dead. And then they find Malcolm downstairs. He's in the basement. He's still alive. They say that the two ladies are dead, but the son is somewhere in the wind, which also goes to Sinister, I think. Also got to be Paranormal Activity 2 with the white man, you know. Especially if Toby was after me. Think about it. Or Tony. Excuse me. And then it ends with Keisha. It's basically the gag from the first one where they're like, man, I told that bitch. I got rid of that bitch. And then you hear, and then like, she went behind me, isn't she? And it ends. Which would have set up a sequel, but I don't know where they would go from there. It never was a sequel, but there was something else I wanted to talk about. What was it? Why is it I say I'll talk about it at the end? Hummy, Iggy. I can't think of it. By the way, the Annabelle thing, it says miss me instead of find me or something like that. Different. I guess. But yeah, overall, this movie it was better than the first one, but I'm still going to give it a middle of the road, because I used to think these movies are actually not that bad, but I can put them on and have fun with them in the background. I can have a few chuckles here and there, but nothing I'm going to go back to. You know what I mean? If I'm going to watch a spoof, which, by the way, like I said in my review for the first one, Marlon Wayans described the first one, it's not a parody, it's just a comedy movie with this stuff in it. There's too many references to other horror movies for this to be other than a spoof or a parody. I mean, plainly, it just is, right? If there's one thing that I would have changed about this, I would want Keisha in it more. The fact they relied on other horror movies for the scares, like Annabelle and The Box and Bagul, they took away from the fact that it should have been Keisha haunting him. Like, they're moving to this new place. It's miles away. He's left this, and Keisha shows up, and he freaks out. He tries to think, we gotta move again. We gotta go. And she's like, no, it's fine. He's just freaking out. And then, like, he sees Keisha in the window and following around, that sort of thing. Like, it's happening again, you know? But no, they got parody a bunch of the other movies, and so, yeah. But, yeah, so what are your thoughts on Haunted House 2? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're almost done. I'm almost done recording these. Yeah. Excuse me. Why can't you ever control yourself when you yawn? You know, I did that. I can't control myself. Anyway, thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you next time. I know I was itching like a